Hello, everybody.
Hey, internet's awful tonight.
Yeah, internet's very bad here tonight, but we're going to do the very best we can and covering this. And if for some reason we lose y'all, then we will cover this again as soon as we can. Anyway, we want to welcome Olivia Fowler's niece, I guess, aunt here, and we are going to cover her tonight primarily.
And we want her to be able to, we want to be able to ask her questions and her answer. We asked her to come on. She's got a migraine, so maybe
I understand about migraines. Yeah. Dana, could you turn off the lights behind us, the bars that way?
You don't like the halos?
There you go. We got halos right here too, but for whatever
you're
reason.
Such an angel.
Yeah, and you see my hair. That Dina stood a little too close to me when she cut my hair.
I think it
and
looks good.
I don't like it this short, but that it is what it is. We did want to cover Olivia and tell you a little bit about and maybe let her aunt here answer some questions for us. But this is what she's an absolutely gorgeous gorgeous mom here. She's been missing since August the 13th of 2021. And I read most of the reports on the internet. And I guess what, and she maybe that you can, Olivia's Army, I guess I'm going to refer to you. Maybe you can tell me that the information that I read was that she took a walk, went out for a walk or whatever, and basically that is the last time anybody saw her. Now, I apologize. The internet's crazy tonight. I'm trying to get a picture here. This is, I think, the highway that she was walking on the side of the road. And, I'm going to tell you, folks, this is nothing unusual. We had lived in the country before in the rural areas, and we walked several times. We would just walk down the road. I've walked down my road. We had a farm in Tennessee, and there was nothing for me to walk to the store or walk down the side of the road. It's pretty common in the rural areas. Where exactly was this? Do you remember the what town it was near?
I'm sorry, Maddie. Maddie said at least it's not shaved like it was last time. She just can't see it, can she?
No, you haven't. It's exactly. My hair is shorter than the last time. I think I can't get any of my stuff to come up here. This is a GoFundMe page that they have right now, and I would encourage you to.
She went missing in Manchester, Georgia.
Manchester?
Yes.
Okay, Manchester, Georgia. She is 5'2", same height that my mother was, 5'2", 100 pounds, blonde hair, hazel green eyes, tattoo "I love you" on her right arm, distinguishing characteristics, missing right fang tooth. She's got her clothing tie-dye shirt and white cutoff shorts and black flip-flops. They do have a GoFundMe page, and we encourage you, if you have any extra money nowadays, to contribute to it. And I think the way I understand it, you're using this money to help fund posters and a reward, and for any information. Money talks. That is it. But in most cases, although we've seen of late that some of these big rewards are not getting the information. Just depends on really the area you live in.
I was gonna do a link to the GoFundMe page.
Yeah, she's gonna. Medina's trying to get over to the GoFundMe page to do a link to that. If not, we will try to put it in our.
No, I got it.
Okay.
Just let me. The internet is
the internet is slow.
Ah,
We're in an RV park, as a lot of you know. We full-time RV, and we're in an RV park. And around this time of night, everybody's on the internet, and that makes everything slow, very, very slow. What I wanted to ask you, Olivia's Army, did she have any ex-boyfriend, ex-husband, ex that she was dealing with, or had any where she would, anybody have a reason to want to do her harm?
her best friend said she left walking from where he was staying. A neighbor said they saw her walking at 8:30 a.m. from Short Street. The sitting cannot be confirmed. The sighting cannot be confirmed. I spoke with all neighbors, and I have reason to believe that it wasn't here.
Okay.
So
She has a current boyfriend. Was her boyfriend, had they had any issues together, or is there a custody situation?
okay, so her boyfriend. So if I'm understanding this, Olivia, you're saying the boyfriend was the last person to actually see her for sure.
Was she having any issues with her boyfriend, or has he been? Has the police?
Okay, that's true. Yes.
Has the no custody? Okay, has the police interviewed him, or gave or offered him to take a polygraph?
Yeah, TS, that's what I'm wondering.
Have they offered to, offered them to take a polygraph,
They said yes.
a lie detector test? Did he take it? Do you know if he took the polygraph and passed it or not? Oh, he refused. Oh, well, that's a pretty good
Wow.
sign right there that he knows more than he's telling you. And I'm going to tell you, it's just like we've talked about polygraphs all along. A polygraph, it may not be admissible in court, but it is a big time tool to rule out suspects. And if he is refusing to take a polygraph, he would be my number one suspect to try to find out everything, there is to,
Okay. So my
you
question
know,
is before the boyfriend, who was the last person to talk to her or to see her?
and were they having issues? Do you know that, or was it a,
He has a new girlfriend already.
were they it in the past? Was he ever violent to her? Or the police ever been called? Her mother was the last person to see her. Um, in the past, um,
Yeah.
thanks, Beach Bum. In the past, uh, did they have any type of violence in that relationship? The boyfriend?
And how long were they boyfriend girlfriend?
Yeah.
Pending case for holding her against her will. Okay. Red flags
Yeah,
everywhere.
man, red flags all. I wonder if the police are naming him as a person of interest in her disappearance.
Gosh, that is crazy. Okay, I do know for those of you that are in or near Manchester, Georgia, on Saturday they are having a
They're not considering him a person of interest. They haven't ruled him out, have they?
why are they not considering him a person of
Well, they
interest?
may not be naming him a person of interest, unless they have.
Do you have this?
He is an informant. Okay.
Look at this.
Um,
Put this up. Let's square
you're
up.
gonna have to send it to me.
I think you got it yesterday. I sent it to you
Nope.
yesterday.
Nope.
Oh, okay.
He is an informant. Uh, well, how big is that police department? Is it over 100 officers, or over 50, or something like that? Is it the police department or the sheriff's department investigating it?
They'll be in Greenville,
Okay.
Georgia. Okay, I'm pulling it up. I'm pulling up the poster.
It's in the middle of Georgia. Okay. Well, I tell you what, I told a lot of other people in the past, if you're not satisfied with your current law enforcement that is investigating your case, go higher. If the sheriff, you said the sheriff's investigating, okay, call the state attorney general's office and ask them to look into it. Call the governor's office and ask them to put up a reward, a governor's reward.
Okay, wait.
They normally will put that up $5,000.
Wait. Give her a chance. Get you a piece of paper and a pen if you can, because he's fixing to give you a lot of information. And then if you need any help with that, I will send you a private message with my phone number on it so you can talk to him personally.
I was a police officer for 33 years, and I can tell you, I've dealt with different types of sheriffs and sheriff's departments. But if you are not satisfied with, if you don't feel like you can go to the sheriff personally and talk to the sheriff and say, hey, you know, what can we do this? You're exactly right, Beachbum. Called congressmen, state representatives. The grease, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. You can't sit back. You can't sit back and just fold your hands and say, I'm going to let these people, take control of this. She's been gone way too long for that. I would definitely contact everybody I could. If you can, who threatened you, Olivia? Who Olivia's Army, who threatened you? Who's they? They threatened you. The police, the cops did. What was it? Deputies, or was the actual sheriff? And what would they threaten you about? They threatened to arrest you if you did what? Did they threaten to arrest you if you contacted the lead investigator? Well, mate, I don't understand why he threatened to arrest you, though. What were you doing for him to do that? What didn't I? Let me play everybody this and tell me about this, and tell me if this is basically what. See if this is what you're talking about.
Friends and family of a missing young mother hope to get information on her whereabouts. Authorities say no one has seen 26-year-old Olivia Fowler since August 13th. Fox 5's Doug Evans spoke with her family today in Manchester.
The town of Manchester is about 2 hours south of Atlanta. It was just outside of here, a few miles away, that a DNR ranger provided the last sighting of Olivia Fowler, and that was more than a month ago. It was 10:30 in the morning on August 13th that a DNR ranger saw 26-year-old Olivia Fowler walking along Pebblebrook Road in Meriwether County. That's the last known sighting of her, according to law enforcement and her family.
She doesn't have a purse, she doesn't have a phone, she doesn't have her license, she doesn't have a social security card, she doesn't have a bag, as far as we know, an overnight bag.
Now Tamara McCoy, her aunt, walks the same road searching for any sign of her niece. The Meriwether County Sheriff's Office says Olivia Fowler was last seen wearing a tie-dye shirt, white cutoff shorts, and black flip-flops. The Sheriff's Office here is asking for the public's help in locating Olivia, saying they have talked to witnesses, conducted ground and air searches, and have followed up on leads, but she is still missing.
Olivia wouldn't go 40 days without reaching out to her family at all.
Olivia Fowler is 26 years old and the mother of 3 small children. Her family says her youngest child had his first birthday during her disappearance. candlelight vigil is planned here in Manchester on September 26th at 7 p.m. Olivia Fowler's aunt tells me after so many searches and still no sign of her niece, she feels like the only thing they have left is prayer. If you know anything about the disappearance of Olivia Fowler, you can call the Meriwether County Sheriff's Office. In Manchester, Doug Evans, Fox 5 News.
I hope that y'all heard that. For whatever reason, it was frozen up on my computer. But what you did, if you contacted the media and got them involved, that is number one. Good. That was great. The media is your friend in most cases. I would just stay away from if the police are got some type of bad relationship with them, you need them on your side as much as possible. But
Yep.
I would go.
I've organized searches and nobody helps.
I would contact the governor's office.
Yes.
Ask them if they would put up a $5,000 reward. They most likely will do that.
I thought you could just ask for a reward. They may give as much as 25.
Yeah, just ask for a governor's reward.
Yeah.
And I would also, who refused to talk to you? The governor's office refused to talk to you? Then I would call the state attorney general's office. Ask for an investigator. Call the state attorney general's office in your state capital. Ask for the investigator. And then tell them, well, if the cops refuse to talk to you, don't talk to them. Just unless they want to come out and talk to you. You need to be cooperative with them, and you need to give them any information they want because they are your lead investigator. But if it's causing you problems to go up there and talk to them all the time, then I would seek out, try to make friends with your local media, especially like this guy that did the report. Seemed like he did a pretty good report. Still, I would have him. It's best if you contact somebody up there with the media, the television stations, and just try to get them on your side. Try to still get them involved in it. The local newspaper, ask them to run something in the newspaper. Like I said, contact the state attorney general's office and ask for the investigator that handles. You're not going to be able to talk to the actual district attorney of the state. It'd be a very rarity if you did, but ask them to speak to one of the investigators. I think it'd be in Atlanta, and they will, and just tell them. And what I would not do is I wouldn't badmouth the police to the attorney general's office. I would just say, look, I can't get any help. I need some help. And if they say contact your local sheriff's office, just say just tell them the truth, what happened, and let them handle it.
Olivia, after this program's over, go back and read the comments that a lot of people are putting because they've got some good suggestions. One of the things is, have you asked any churches to have their congregation come out and help you search? Because, I mean, that's something as a church I would think people would want to do.
Also, another thing is contact your county representatives, like your county commissioners. They work for you. Yep. Let them, they're the ones that control all the budget for the sheriff's department and other things, and just talk to your county commissioners and see if they can get some help through them. I'm just saying you need to be proactive. See, it's a bad area. A lot of people are scared. I understand that. Did she have a drug problem?
There you go. That's a good question.
Was she on drugs? I know a lot of opium is real bad in that area. Methamphetamine's real bad in that area. Was she? It doesn't mean that she's a bad person and she needs to go missing, but did she have a drug problem?
Yeah, Teresa's got a good point. Contact your state and county, your
Yeah,
senators.
a lot of drugs in that area. Or did she? Yes, she was using. What was she using? Oxycontin or your pills, or was she doing meth or fentanyl or what? Do you know?
I think the person that needs to be looked at right now
She
the
bit,
most is the
but
boyfriend.
it was OTW to get help. On the way to get help, help had been clean for 5 months. Write letters, call, email. Yeah, I agree. A lot of times, if
She'd been clean 5 months.
yeah, they were mixing drugs. Yeah, a lot of times, if somebody is an addict, law enforcement may take a slower look
Yeah.
at the missing type situations. However, she's been missing long enough that I'm sure if they're going to investigate it, they're investigating it now.
Y'all remember we did a program a couple of months ago on a transgender young lady that came up missing, and to us it doesn't matter if your niece was on drugs or if she was in anything, because she's a person. She's got children. She deserves every chance to straighten her life out, get it going in the right direction, and be a mother to those kids.
Okay, Olivia, save those messages if you can on your phone. Take a picture of the messages and print those messages, or take another picture with another phone, or download them somewhere, but keep them.
Yes.
Because if she turns up, something bad happens, then it would be evidence.
And you know what? You can always file a civil lawsuit against the boyfriend,
Well, there would have to be some type of evidence to do that.
But that's to start with the message. Well, okay.
What I would do, I would start off by befriending, if you can, the news media, because the news media is your biggest supporter.
They didn't do anything. He admits he works for DEA.
Well, if he does work for the DEA, he shouldn't be telling everybody, because that looks like
he tried to sell. Is it her car he tried to sell after she went missing? A week after she went missing?
He doesn't own that car, does he? That he could get in legal trouble for selling somebody else's car.
A week after she went missing. This reminds me of somebody else.
Yeah.
She paid for it.
Who was the title? Who had the title? Was the title in her name?
She paid for it. Oh, they put it in their name, so he can sell it. Then. If it's in his name, doesn't matter if she paid for it.
Yeah.
But it is strange that he sold it. Started putting it up for sale.
I would just tell you to, if you don't have any luck with the sheriff's department, if there's some type of communication gap between you and the sheriff's department, then I would go you could always call the state police and ask them to investigate it. They may not do it because a sheriff is just so powerful. A sheriff is so powerful. That is the problem. If the sheriff himself will not do anything to help you, wouldn't talk to him. hadn't searched his phone either. Have you talked to the sheriff himself? Does he say, you know, I'm not getting involved, or refer you to an investigator or something like that?
Okay.
Well, I mean, if there is evidence and proof of sex and drug trafficking, and if you don't feel like that you are, you know, you are getting results, then there's a lot of federal agencies that you can contact. Now, whether or not they will step over the sheriff to investigate it, I don't know. You would need to have some type of proof more than just that, but you can always call the FBI. You can always call the
Did you see what he said? He said, "Let me know when you find her."
who?
The boyfriend.
Yeah, you can always call the FBI. You can always call the U.S. Customs. You can always call DEA itself. You can always,
Oh my gosh.
you know,
His ex-girlfriend was found deceased 1 month after Olivia went missing. This guy.
I don't understand why the police are not taking this.
Okay, TS had a very good point. His mother may know something. Have you talked to her? Because talking to her,
Yeah,
she's
but
a
I'm going
mother.
to tell you something. I agree with the police on one thing of this. I don't know that it's going to do you any good to jump around and try to interview a bunch of witnesses if the police are trying to do that. If the police are working this case, let them work it. But it's not going to hurt you to go and talk to FBI. It's not going to do any, you know, if you feel like you can't get any help, there's a lot of other people and they won't just turn the other cheek. I'm telling you.
The ex-girlfriend was found in the county commissioner's house.
Man.
But Tommy, the only thing now this is from a mom, okay? But if this was me, then I would say the mother may know something, and as a mom, I can appeal to her heart to, hey, if you know something, please give us some closure. Please tell us something.
Man, you can, but it's y'all under investigation. Like I would say, you know, like here's what I would say do, and it sounds like you're not going to get any she hates Olivia is what she said. She hated Olivia, the mother did.
Oh God.
Then let the sheriff's department do the job, and you contact the state attorney general's office and tell them everything that you've told me.
And the governor's office.
Say I wrote the GBI and the FBI. Well, that's good. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation is top notch, and the FBI. You may just have to call them, not just write them. Talk to an investigator, get their name, write it down, and tell them, I need your name and the phone number where I can call you back. And then, you know, tell them I'm not stopping. I got to have some help. Don't threaten them.
No.
You're not going to get anything with a threat, okay?
Except a knock at your door.
Contact them and say, request help. If they want you to ask them.
That's what they said. They said they can't help unless asked by the county.
Well, you can file your own report with them if you have to. You can go to them and file a missing person report with them. You can contact the FBI and tell them exactly, and GBI, tell them exactly why you feel like you cannot get any help by the sheriff's office. You can contact the state attorney general's office and ask for an investigator. The attorney general's office is actually the one that investigates law enforcement. if they feel like they can't, for whatever reason they
Can I
can't.
do a freedom of information?
I wouldn't go that far. There's nothing. I mean,
Not yet.
not yet. I don't think that.
Okay, she wants to know, how do I file?
If you've got information on drug and human trafficking, you can contact the FBI. Here's where the FBI investigates. Okay, they don't investigate in-state crimes unless it involves a federal crime or it crosses state lines. Sex trafficking, yes, they get involved, or the FBI gets involved, or the U.S. Customs.
Okay, Tom. Okay, Amber had a great idea, or Teresa did. Somebody did, that says maybe the local domestic violence foundation could help with some legal advice. And also, Teresa, T.S. Jackson wanted to know, do they need a lawyer, or could they get answers with a PI?
Well, you could get answers with the PI, but you're 5 months out. Your best friend is the press. I'm telling you, absolute best friend is the press. If you get the press reporting on this thing every 2 or 3 months, and you get these, like you say, you're doing a candlelight visual, great. Have the media out there when you do it. Don't badmouth the sheriff's department to the media. Don't badmouth the police or deputies to the media. Seek help.
Just say, we want answers.
And we want
your
help.
6-month anniversary is coming up next month. That would be a great time to do the balloons, have the media out there. We just want answers. That she's got 3 children, that they miss their mom, they need their mom, and just get answers.
It's like this. You don't want to if you start bad mouthing the police to the press, and you start being the enemy to the police in the press, then all that's going to do to you is you're not going to have any type of cooperation.
What is that flying around?
A stink bug, I think. Use like you said, your prayer visuals, your media is your friend.
Okay, listen at this. How do I respond when I wake up to a detailed message about what possibly happened? Who did the message come from? Do you know?
Yeah, somebody sent you a text message, then you need to save that text message.
I think it's on her phone. I may be wrong.
If it's a text message, you save that text message and forward it to the media, or you send it to like the sheriff and say, look, I'm going to send you this message that I've got. Somebody sent it to me. If y'all not going to do anything about it, or whoever's not going to investigate it, then I'm going to have to forward it to the media. To the media, let them do it, or get a private investigator, or whatever.
Has a missing persons report officially been filed? Someone asked.
Yeah, has they actually filed one?
Yeah, tell them to report it to the. Is that somebody just trying to hurt you more with detailed information about what possibly happened? Is that someone that's wanting to hurt you?
Tell them to report ASAP. And if that someone does not want to report it themselves, forward the information to the sheriff's department.
Let them run it down.
Send it in a registered mail if you have to. Get them where they actually have to sign for it.
They have facts, she said. If they've got facts, then they know something. Well, I mean, what kind of facts could they have that for sure is true?
The person that calls you and left a message, do they name names? They say they're scared to go to the cops. Okay. Well, do they tell you what happened? Do they name names? And
or an area where
do they leave their name? Do you know who it is that's calling you. You know, it may just be that you have to go to the investigator and say, look, this is what was told to me, this person did, and let them follow it up. And it's not your responsibility, you know, to keep, you know, not telling who did that.
Okay, Olivia, there's also another thing you can do. You can reach out to other YouTubers who do what we do. There are others out there that will.
I can tell you
yeah.
several that I would trust enough to do a good job on it. One is AK Rocks. It's AKROX. He's a very good YouTuber, and you know, I trust him enough to know that he would look things up, do what he could for you.
And I'll tell you, he's one that has boots on the ground. If he thinks he can come and help you search for her, he is really good about that.
And also Plunder does she's got about 100-something thousand subscribers. If you could reach out to Plunder, go to and try to get her to look into the case also. There's several others that are on here that I'll be honest with you, I don't know if they would do it or not. You would just have to do it. But I think AK would probably look into it. I think
he may show up.
Yeah, and is Gonzo still doing this? I know every once in a while I see him online, but I don't know if his
she
channel
says right now
still...
I have one person I trust.
Well, it doesn't mean you can't contact these other YouTubers and let them look into it. The more, you know, it's like I don't know if you're aware of the Morphew case, the Suzanne Morphew and Barry Morphew out in Colorado. Well, it was just basically a bunch of YouTubers got involved in that, and it just blew up.
Yeah.
And now it's like nationwide.
And not to toot our horn because it was just something that happened, but Gabby Petito, we were the first YouTube channel besides the news media. We were the first YouTube channel to report on Gabby, and then that blew up. So if you get the YouTubers involved, it's going to blow up. People are going to start asking questions.
Yeah, because it just, I mean, and it doesn't matter. Look, we pray for a drug problem. I don't, you know, if she's clean and good, I got a lot of friends that have been, even though that was my thing. And when I was a police officer before I retired I worked narcotics. And if you can get help and get off drugs, hey, I'm all for it. And I'll be there. I'll be your biggest supporter. Now, if you're a dealer and dealing and smuggling drugs, I'm going to do everything I can to find somebody to put you in prison. But that's not what this is about. What you need to be doing is getting the word out to as many people as you can to speak up on your niece's behalf, because she can be lost in this. And if the media doesn't stay on this, and that's what I would do, the first thing I would do is contact the media and say, look, I really, really, really need some help, because I'm not getting it anywhere else.
And we've got 3 babies that need mom.
Right, we got, and so we're doing this. Make sure the media is at that candlelight visual. Make sure the media keeps it up, and it's in the paper too.
I don't think it's a candlelight visual on Saturday. I think it's at the middle part of the day. But the other thing is, on the 6-month anniversary, if you don't know anything by then, be sure and
release some balloons or something. Make sure the news media is there to see
get a
something.
Pastor there to
make
pray.
It visual, right? Ask the pastor in that local area to try to get involved in it, right? Or somebody to get involved in it. And you know, if nothing else, maybe get about 20 or 30 balloons, white balloons, and release them or whatever, just so that and the news media can be involved in it. There are 4 unsolved murders here in 5 counties.
Teresa, thank you for emailing Matt. I will tell you that last night when we were doing some more research on Olivia, I went to the page and I reached out to her on the page, and her aunt immediately got back to me. So if Matt or any of the other YouTubers reach out to her, she is real quick to get back.
I would, if somebody could maybe get a hold of AK, I really was hoping I could get him to come on with me tonight because of that mess that got over there in Salida and in that Barry Morphew hearing situation, and we're going to cover a little bit of that. But
hey, hold on just one second. I
all
heard
right.
something back there. Can y'all see that? Maggie, what are you doing?
That's Maggie's real ladylike, isn't she?
She was. I heard her back there dreaming, I guess.
Olivia Zarmy,
she can be reached on Twitter also.
If you
I do
can,
Instagram.
whenever your head gets feeling better, because listen, I'm right there with you. I had a real bad headache 2 days ago, and I was in bed for a day. But email or get back in touch with us. Our email is at the bottom of our screen there. Email us and get back in touch with us, and maybe
come on live
with us. And it's easier to, it's easier to maybe get, if you're live, to ask you some questions, and maybe by that time I can pull up some numbers of some places that you can call and get some help. It's difficult when there is a rift between you and law enforcement. I'm going to tell you, it's very difficult. I don't know why this is all happening, but all I can say is if you can mend fences, do it. Because it'd be great if you had somebody in the sheriff's department that you could call every week and say, hey, what's the progress on my niece's case? And that would be great if you had somebody there that you could you can mend fences with. Even if you had to call and talk to the investigator and say, look, I don't want to be your enemy here. I'm not your enemy. I want to be involved in the search for my niece. I want to do everything I can to help you. Can we work this together rather than apart? Because in the end, normally law enforcement are good, especially sheriff's department, because they are voted in by the people. Sheriffs are usually more apt to help you because they lean on votes. So if you if you can mend fences with them, that would be your biggest victory, in my opinion.
Right. Let them know your heart.
I
you're
have
not angry
actually,
with them. Your heart is hurting because your niece is missing.
I remember a case in particular that I had somebody calling every single day about a house on their area that was dealing drugs, and they made it so difficult for me to want to help them because they were so hateful to me all the time. So finally, they just came and said, look, came and met me in person, eye to eye, and said, look, all I want to do is, and I need some help. And they apologized to me and said, look, don't want to, I'm not trying to be your enemy. I'm trying to be just need some help. And from that point on, everything changed, and they could call me anytime. And we ended up doing a search warrant in the neighborhood and arrested a bunch of folks. And it really cleaned up the whole neighborhood. So I'm just saying, if you can, that would be, it would be very, very helpful. Even if you had to go up and make an appointment with the sheriff, sit down and say, look, I'm not trying to be ugly. I'm not trying to interfere. I just need some help. And it would really help if her mother would go with you.
It would.
I don't know if she would go.
I mean, is her mother?
Is her mother alive?
Yeah.
Maybe I misspoke there.
Yeah, I don't know.
but said that she was the last one she talked to was
Well,
her
that's
mother.
true. That's true.
If her mother would go with you up there and you would approach the sheriff as needing help and not wanting to interfere with the investigation, but here's what you're hearing, and why is he going around saying he's a DEA informant? Because that, in my area, if you were an informant, that was one way to get yourself killed, by advertising it.
Yeah. And Maddie's got a great point, Olivia's Army. Don't forget that police are under a lot with this defund them and being shot at, and some are being killed. So the police are under a whole lot of pressure anyway. And then they don't need somebody coming down on them. They need somebody that says, "Hey, I'm here. Can we?"
As
work
flyers, I would put up as many flyers. I would go out to every business in the little town, especially if it's in a small town. Have your friends and maybe get some young girls to help you, and just have them go up to every business. Can you please put this flyer in your window? I don't care if there's a flyer in every single business on the whole block. That's good. That's a good thing. And even contact, if you can email me a flyer, that'd be great. Contact your local people that put up these big billboards and ask them if they would be willing to have a billboard put up as some type of a gift to the family or whatever. That would be great. But we will do what we can to see if we can get some YouTubers to you have a huge banner. Hey, see if the somebody, the landowner there or whatever, will let you put that banner out on the property that's
where she went
missing.
Yeah.
Right. That as much stuff as you can to kind of show interest and get the public involved. That is what you need to do. And we will do what we can to get in touch with as many YouTubers around that might pick up the torch too.
Okay, now I know that we've given you a lot of information both in the chat and talking. If you get a chance, go back. Once the video posts, you'll be able to go back and see the chat in live, when it going down through there. Get a chance, go back and write down, but make sure every time you contact somebody, no matter who it is, or you are contacted, write it down. Get a book and write it down. That way,
keep notes. I see yard signs, shirts. They got, hey, put them up everywhere, especially on the road that she went missing on, and also get the press involved.
Yeah, the press is going to be the key there. And for the 6-month anniversary, I pray y'all find her before February. But if not, plan something really big.
Yeah. But I do appreciate you coming and letting us talk to you. We are going to discuss something else right now, another thing, because I put it on the thumbnail and I feel like that I need to do that. But we will reach out to some YouTubers also, and we're just going to pray that she is found, and her 23rd birthday next month. Wow. But just get the press involved. Try to contact somebody.
23rd
maybe,
birthday? Wait a minute. It's her 23rd birthday?
Maybe you can find somebody that is a female would be great, because they seem to relate more. In a journalist there at the newspaper, and
she will be 27 on March 23rd.
All right.
I was going to say, gosh, that flyer was wrong for one thing.
But get the press involved, where if you get somebody that's really willing to stay on it and report on it, then she can be your contact, and she can be a sounding board too. Okay. So thanks a lot, and please come back and let us know how things are going, And if we can report on this sometime, that you can get on
And we
with
will
us.
be praying for her.
Yeah, if you can get on here and talk to us about it later on. But try to mend some fences. Okay, try to mend some fences with law enforcement. And I know sometimes it's tough, but that is where you're, in the end, that's going to be your strongest thing that you can do. I'm telling you. You may think that they are keeping this guy for whatever reason, he's an informant or whatever, but that may be exact opposite.
Yeah, I'm
Okay?
surprised he's telling people.
Yeah,
that
right.
stuff.
Because I wouldn't work for the guy if he's going to go out and tell everybody he's an informant. I had one informant, the only informant I ever had that died. I understand they claimed it was an OD, but I've since learned that he probably was murdered because somebody found out he was an informant. So that a true informant would never tell, and DEA they'd probably drop him like a hot potato if they knew that. So we'll be praying for you. Okay, let's touch base on something else because it's looking 52 minutes in. A couple of things I wanted to touch base on. One was Summer Wells. Her parents had to their mother called the cops on the dad. They had a violent fight. Now, it could have been some alcohol involved in it. Probably was, but something like this could turn around and somebody could tell something that they know because, or it could have been over something they know.
What? You talking?
My cat's there talking. She accused the husband of physical assault last week as the hunt for her daughter continues after several months. And another thing I wanted to touch base on was the Barry Morphew case. Of course, there's some pretty major developments in this case. Barry was granted. I think they had a bond reconsideration, but these are his two daughters. He was granted a pass to go to Gunnison, Colorado, to see the daughters, which the news really made a big deal out of this. He's got a GPS monitor on his ankle, so I mean they can keep up with it. But something major happened in the Barry Morphew case that I think is going to be huge in making reasonable doubt. One is this guy here, a main investigator in this case, resigned, and he was one of the main investigators in it because he resigned over what they're saying is I can't think of the exact words, but there's some credibility issues, and so they don't feel like this officer can be used in the future. His credibility on the stand is in jeopardy. So the way I understood it was he resigned over a credibility issue, and then while he was on leave or whatever, his gun was accidentally discharged inside his house. Now I don't know what that was about, but that's not why he resigned. I think maybe this is actually the charges they went over again, but I'm trying to find where it talks about. One second here. Here it is, internal affair investigation here. Credibility issue, a potential credibility issue. Now, what that means is any evidence that he seized, any evidence that he got from, and in my understanding, he was one of the main ones that interviewed Morphew. So that testimony is going to probably not be able to be brought out at trial. They may be able to read it into the trial, but he will not be able to be sworn in because his testimony, it's like if you prove a police officer has lied on the stand, committed perjury, any cases he ever did or any cases in the future he would do will be null and void because you can never believe him again.
Yep.
And this is the type of this is a credibility issue. Is what the defense is going to do is they're going to say, how can we believe his testimony before that he did or any investigation he did if he was resigned over a credibility issue?
Well, this is going to go back on his other cases.
That's
too.
right. Every case that he ever did from then on may be thrown out. And I think this is a huge, huge factor. It's a big time because if he was involved in anything that I know that he was supposed to check out, they found some touch DNA on the Land Rover inside Suzanne's Land Rover on the glove box. None of the touch DNAs was supposed to be Barry's touch DNA. They did find a partial of the DNA that was related to an unknown sexual assault in Chicago and in Phoenix. So that is a big thing too. They're gonna, even though the whole DNA did not match those people, it was enough of partial that they ran it through CODIS and found that match. That is going to be a reasonable doubt point. If I was Morphew's lawyer, what I would be saying is, we've got this partial sexual offender's DNA, touch DNA, that is on the glove box. How do we know that she wasn't kidnapped by the sexual offender of this partial DNA? Now,
Gosh, I'm sorry.
me and Medina both last night looked up online, how long can DNA stay on an item? And they said between 10 minutes and 10,000 years. In other words, they don't know how long. It depends on moisture. It may have been. But let's see here. It talks about here the CBI Bureau Investigations agent who testified in the murder case against Chaffee County's Barry Morphy resigned from the agency last month amid internal affairs investigation, according to a letter obtained by the Denver Post. Former agent Joseph Cahill resigned December the 8th, 2 days before the internal investigation report was issued. And it said it was issued about the accidental discharge of the personal gun in his home while he was off duty, according to the so-called Brady letter named after the U.S. Supreme Court decision that requires an officer's credibility issues to be disclosed during the court proceedings process. Well, what that means is that doesn't have anything to do with the gun. It's just the credibility issues is that, and they're saying Brady versus Maryland, writing to inform that there's information contained in the Colorado Bureau of Investigation Internal Affairs report that may impact the credibility. It may impact credibility in the prosecution of Barry Morphew. Now I'm gonna tell you, folks, that is huge. It's huge.
Hey, Maui said it is a relation, not a match, but that means it's in that.
Yeah, it's in CODIS. It is a relation, right? It's not a match. But what we're talking about right now is why this agent has a credibility issue. He resigned. Everything that he touched in that investigation is tainted now. I'm telling you, folks, everything that officer touched, every testimony he did is not going to be worth the hoot because his credibility issue, he lied. about something. That's what I'm hearing. That's my opinion now. The credibility tells me he's got a truthfulness issue, in my opinion. Now, you say this. It's like talking to a guy. Say you have someone hired in your store and you catch him stealing. You can never have that person work in the store again around money because you can't trust him.
Right.
And he's not going to, this type of stuff here, any testimony he did, any investigation in this thing is going to be tainted in a big time way. So, I think that, and plus the DNA is going to be something that the defense is going to use to put reasonable doubt in the minds of a jury. Listen, if they can you can take a jury and get O.J. Simpson off of a murder of two people with his blood all over his car from the two people, blood on his shoes from the two, his ex-wife and that guy, and you get him not guilty verdict, and it didn't have some touch DNA from a sex offender, anything is possible. Especially now with the police being so, everybody's down on the police and making it look like they taint evidence and stuff like that. It's just, crazy. And the fact that she had an extramarital affair in the process, that's another thing. He maintains his innocence. The defense attorney has argued that his wife may have been run away, and I don't believe that. Been kidnapped, I don't believe that either. I personally believe he's guilty, but these things going to throw a gigantic monkey wrench in the whole thing. And the fact is that the prosecution has not given the defense a lot of this evidence in a timely manner, and that's going to be a big thing too. See here, and of course we know the judge has been replaced. He resigned from the case because of had to recuse himself because the
as Teresa said, if main witnesses must not be interviewed until the trial is over, this can taint the trial possibly too.
Main witnesses. Well, and let me tell you about how witnesses and evidence goes. The prosecution has to give everything they got, all the evidence, anything they've collected to the defense. That is called discovery. They've got to give everything they have to the defense, all their notes, all of their videos, all of their witnesses' name. But the way they do it about witnesses and how they kind of muddy the water is this. They may give a list of 100 potential witnesses and really only want to call 1, 2, or 3, but they'll give a list of about 100. So it makes it harder for the defense to go out and research and all this about witnesses. So they'll name a whole lot of witnesses, but only intend to call maybe 1 or 2.
I think in New York, where they are required to give the name and addresses to the defense, that's scary.
It is scary in a lot of cases. In Alabama, you don't have to do that, though.
Yeah,
you don't have to give they have what they call a shield law. They do it on rape victims and everything like that.
If I was in New York, I would not come forward if I saw a crime committed, because they're going to give the defense my name. And I mean, if it was have to, if it was gangbangers or something like that, I wouldn't want to die.
It said the defense team said Barry Morphy's DNA has been excluded from the glove box sample. However, the unknown touch profile was not found anywhere else but the glove box, the unknown touch profile. They did say something about finding it on the seat of the bicycle, though, I understand. Said Bob Gant said the glove box DNA was important for reasonable doubt, though it is only one piece of the puzzle. And see, that's what I'm saying. If you got a jury of 12 over there, you got women, men, and everything, and first off, the society right now is painting the police as being crooked and planting evidence or maybe not getting it right, and you got touch DNA from a possibility, a partial of a sex offender that's raped someone in Chicago and Arizona, and Billy Martin's DNA is nowhere on the glove box, and he's screaming she was kidnapped and all that. He's trying to muddy the water. He's trying to create some type, all that defense people are trying to create some type of reasonable doubt and get him off. That's
Okay.
all he needs, one juror that say, I believe he's not guilty, and hang that jury.
Okay, but to me, I find it odd that there was none of his fingerprints on the glove box in the car, because
Maybe he didn't drive the car.
I mean,
They
he
had
never,
2 or 3 Range
so
Rovers.
he never rode with her in that vehicle. I
May
guess
not have. I don't know. But here's the thing. Here's what the prosecution's going to do. The prosecution's going to say, well, it could have been when the person we bought the car from. It could, if it was a new car, it could have been at the dealer. A sex offender or whatever might have went out there and touched it. They're going to try to put a lot of that in. But I'm going to tell you, it's going to be an obstacle that the prosecution's going to have to conquer, because it's going to establish a possibility for reasonable doubt. I'm telling you, to me, it is a big, big deal. If I was doing this case, it is a big deal for me. Let me go back to that again. See, it says here, according to various local media reports, male DNA that corresponds with a partial DNA profiles in numerous unsolved sexual assault cases from 3 jurisdictions in two different states turned up on the glove box of Suzanne Morphew's car. The DNA sample matched sexual assaults cases in Chicago, Illinois, as well as Phoenix and Tempe, Arizona. The results came via the Combined DNA Index System, a national DNA database regularly used by law enforcement. Colorado Bureau Investigation Agent Joseph Cahill, now this is the same guy that's got the credibility issue, confirmed the match when questioned by Morphy defense attorney Iris Ayton. The defense noted Cahill was listed as a CBI contact in letters sent to investigators in 3 cities where the sexual assaults occurred. Cahill confirmed during questioning that he was the person who collected the mystery man's DNA sample from the glove box, but did not personally follow up with the 3 matches because he went on military leave soon. So he basically collected them, but he decided, he may have gave it to somebody else to follow up on it, or he just did not follow up on it, period. But regardless, that to me is pretty huge. So the defense also noted the unknown male DNA was discovered on both the rear cushion of Susan Morphew's car and on the handlebars of her bicycle. Now, says Ethan said the defendant's DNA was not found on either of those samples. Well, that might have mean that there may be another co-defendant in this case. That's what I would say, that there may be another co-defendant, or the defense, they could have used gloves. And the bike was in the repair shop like 2 weeks ago. So that could easily be explained away that somebody in the repair shop moving the bike or whatever, or touched it for whatever reason, But the car is going to be difficult. I'm just telling you. CBI notified that another DNA profile match of an unsolved sexual case. This was June, talking about that in April. The defense says another match from an unsolved sexual case, this time in Chicago. So I'm telling you, folks, that for the right jury and the right lawyer, defense lawyer, can spin this where it creates reasonable doubt. They don't have to prove that he's not guilty. They don't. All they have to do is prove that they got reasonable doubt. That's all. I'm very worried about this case for that reason. I am. That it's just, I'm not saying he's going to be found not guilty. I'm just saying there's a possibility it may be a hung jury, because all they got to do is convince one person
Maui said
that
they aren't
that is,
matches. Huh? Maui said they aren't matches. Though.
They're partial matches. That's all they got to say is a partial match, and his DNA wasn't on there. Period. I'm just saying it's reasonable to me. It's easy way to reasonable doubt. Now I'm going to show you this. How long can DNA last on an object? Scientists estimate under the most ideal conditions, DNA theoretically can survive for a maximum of 1 million years. I mean, in other words, they're saying they don't know how long does DNA stay on an object. About a month to 1 million years. They don't know. That's what they're saying. They don't know how long. They found DNA under it means ideal conditions that could last 6.8 million years. They did DNA. They actually said they did a DNA. They found an egg from a dinosaur, and they found active DNA in that. So it goes in here. Touch DNA. Here's touch DNA. Touch DNA, also known as trace DNA, forensic method for analyzing DNA left on the scene of a crime. It's called touch DNA because it only requires very small samples. For example, for the skin cells on an object after it has been touched or casually handled, or from footprints. Touch DNA analyzes only requires 7 to 8 cells from the outermost layer of the human skin. Technique has been criticized for high rates of false positive due to contamination. For example, fingerprint brushes used by crime scene investigators can transfer trace amounts of skin cells from one surface to another, leading to inaccurate results.
Right.
Risk of false positive. And I want to tell you something too. In reading all the little fine print in this, let me get back. I keep mashing the wrong thing here. They were talking about that you could be walking through a shop, say, looking at kitchen knives in a store, and you could reach down and pick one up and put it down, and that knife's bought by somebody, and then 3 months down the road here, somebody kills somebody, and they run that DNA that's found on the knife, and maybe you had your DNA in a database somewhere, and then boom, you're a suspect or being questioned because your DNA was at a murder scene. Could happen.
Well, then that lady that came in our store that time that did not want to handle the gun unless she was buying.
Yeah, that was weird. We had somebody come into the store we used to own and had the gun in a cloth thing and wanted to doesn't want to touch it in any way. I mean, that kind of stuff's kind of crazy. But what I've kept saying about the Morphy case, one is if I was on the jury, on what I know now, he would be found guilty, no doubt. I believe he is guilty. In my mind, on looking at everything that I know about the case, and mostly it's just from evidence that we've read and discovery stuff that's out, and the affidavit, arrest affidavit, and the, you know, all this stuff, we believe he's guilty. But if you have 12 people on that jury and they're not YouTubers or follow YouTube, and you bring up all this evidence, and then the defense gets to be their side, and he gets, first off, you got a guy on CBI that's the credibility has been in question, whether he can be trusted, then that's huge. Bring that all out. And, you know, you know, they'll destroy that person on cross-examination in a, first off, I don't think that the prosecution will call him under any circumstances. But if the defense calls him as a witness, then any questioning that he did of Barry Morphew will be out the window. None of that stuff they'll be able to present. And when they bring up that touch DNA, that's going to be, if somebody doesn't know everything that me and you know, it's going to create some doubt, reasonable doubt. I'm telling you, it's going to do it.
Maui said the defense is trying hard to get the charges dismissed.
Well, I don't think that will happen. You know, the judge said that was the longest arrest affidavit that he'd ever read, and it was definitely the longest I'd ever seen. But still, the affidavit, the preliminary hearing, in my opinion, if it would have happened in Alabama in my court system that I used to work in, would have never gone to an indictment, because they just did not put enough evidence in it. That it was almost like beat around the bush of it. I didn't see any big evidence that I was expecting to see. I thought they were really gonna, you know, drop the bomb and tell us what evidence they had. But it's circumstantial at best, the case is, and unless they can tie it to some type of stuff they may have found in the truck that they're not telling us, or maybe that they've recovered from these trash bins that they're not telling us. But I really am. I'm very fearful. Here's what I hope happen. I would rather happen. I would rather them not go to trial right now and try to find her body and develop more evidence that can convict him. Because what I'm worried about is they go to trial and they find him not guilty because they got a reasonable doubt. And then he could turn right around and say he did it. And they can't prosecute him again. The only thing they could do is the family could sue him for wrongful death. But, you know, they could turn around, if they could find him not guilty, and then a year later down the road, they find her body, and there's evidence on the body that could indicate him as the offender, they can't prosecute him. He could turn around right after he gets out of jail and says he did it and he's sorry, and there's nothing, absolutely zero they could do to him. FBI can't charge him. He can't be charged with violation of civil rights because he's not a public official. This family could sue him for wrongful death and might get all his money, but they could never charge him criminally again. Double jeopardy takes over. So that's what I'm worried about. That's what I'm worried about. I'm worried about some jury not wanting to put, you know, believe this DNA and him get off. I really am. We'll see. The jury, here's what bothers me too. The defense is pushing for the trial to be moved up. That tells me they want to get it over with because they believe they can win. They really do. So that's my opinion. I understand that somebody had hacked into the WebEx during trial, and for whatever reason, I watched AK's video where somebody had mentioned that he was the person that did this. The defense had come, some clown, I'm sorry, somebody on their defense team had, for whatever reason, believed it was AK. Well, AK has got hard video evidence that that was not him, and he was doing something. I think he was actually online somewhere talking to y'all or whatever, or having something. Anyway, he's 100% innocent of that. He approached the judge and the jury, or the judge and the prosecution, I think yesterday, and they got it cleared up and basically said, you're right, you are not the one that was online. And believe me, they'll find out who it was. But unfortunately, a judge cannot be held liable for anything he says while he's on the bench. And I've looked this up again, and unless it's well, a judge can say just about anything he wants to while he's on the bench. Now, if he steps off the bench and goes to chambers and says something different out of his court setting, then personally, then yeah, he could do that. But while he's on the bench, he can just about say what he wants to.
Amber said he was on Twitter at the time.
Good. Well, I trust that AK would not be doing something like that. That is total out of character for him. I don't believe that he would do that, and I'm glad that he got that straightened out. But they'll find out.
There's a lot
They'll find out.
There's a lot of crazy people doing stupid stuff like
yeah, the girl
that woman
came to the school board meeting and threatened to bring all her guns
she
back.
told them, she said, my kids are not wearing a mask. And
that's
I'm coming back
insane.
on Monday with all my guns loaded, and my kids are not wearing a mask. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, how stupid can you be?
Reach out to all your YouTube friends and let's try to get Olivia on there and get her stuff out there. Something's not right about that. I highly personally stress that she make friends with the police and not be an adversary to them, because they honestly, I believe law enforcement on a whole is good. And I believe these guys, as sheriff like that, they want to get this thing solved. There may be some questions why they don't want her going out there and interviewing witnesses before they get to talk to them. I understand that. Okay. I've been on that side of it, so I can tell you, let's try to mend some fences. That's what I would do.
I'd put some pressure on the boyfriend.
Well, you can't let the law enforcement.
That's what I mean. The law enforcement do.
Right.
If I was law enforcement, I'd be putting pressure on the boyfriend.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get out of here.
Hey,
and
let me tell y'all something. We got a great suggestion. Tommy did today. He met with some of his old buddies, and he got a great suggestion for how we can up our subscribers on the other channel. I'm telling y'all, when you see what they recommended, y'all are going to just love it. I hope that it hits the news.
Yeah, now
we're not going to tell you what it is.
Now our channel here, the 1 million mile road trip. If you haven't subscribed, we would really appreciate you go over and subscribe to this channel. Share it. It's going to be Facebook. Funny. We actually have 806 subscribers as of tonight. And
I think when we pull off this other thing,
but our watch hours are down. It's going to take a while before we get monetized, but still, we would really appreciate you to go over and subscribe. And we got something really funny and awesome to do.
Hey, and by the way, if you didn't see the one a couple of weeks ago, Bama Hinge, where I locked us out of the RV and the Jeep again, and I had to climb through the window on top of his back. Y'all, if you haven't seen that, it was funny.
Also, my son has just put out, our son has just put out a record, a CD, a song called My Last Prayer, or Last Prayer. It's on Spotify, it's on iTunes, it's on
iTunes and Apple Music.
Music.
And
It
it's
costs-
99 cents, y'all.
Costs 99 cents. And we've got 148 people here. I think it's what
No,
it says.
42.
Huh?
42.
Mine's comments 100.
You had
49.
142 comments, but you only got
Okay,
42
people. If you go over and you play that song and you decide you don't like it, you send me an email and I'll refund you 99 cents. Okay.
Oh, thanks, Beach Bum. You saw our gorgeous sunset. It was beautiful.
But that is how well that I think you will love it. And it is a testimony to, I wish more people that are thinking about ending their life and suicide and everything would listen to this song. It's really, really inspirational. And he wrote it
In the depths of his depression.
Yeah, he was in some real depression at the time, and he wrote it. And it's a very, very good song. Go over and listen to it, and 99 cents, all it is. He makes 8 cents on that 99 cents, 8 cents. But we're trying to get it out there. And like I said, of the 42 people or whoever's in this right now, you buy it, say you don't like it, you email me, I'll give you 99 cents back.
T.S. Jackson said, my mom accidentally flushed her keys in the auto toilet at the rest stop.
Oh, great. That's not good.
Yeah, that's not good.
All right. Well,
y'all, it was great to see y'all and chat with y'all tonight. And we appreciate every one of you showing up. And we will be praying for Olivia.
Appreciate the 42 that are here right now. And we will. And y'all, we are going to try to up the times we are online on this channel.
Because there's so many missing.
We can get some things worked out. We got some things in the works. So anyway, y'all have a great night. We love y'all, and check out my son's song. I wish I could get it over here and hold on a second.
Okay. The other thing is,
let me go over
if
here.
you hear of anybody missing that you want us to highlight, send it to us. If you know the family, reach out to the family and ask them if they'll come on. If they will, that would be awesome.
Let me show you.
I think Dakota's.
Hold on, let me show you what the front of this.
Can you not play it all?
They'll hit me because he's got all his stuff on this. They won't let me. Spotify won't let me do it and all that. This is. Let me show you what this is, and so that you'll know what to look for.
There you go. It's almost there, y'all.
Hold on a second here.
He's getting there.
I'm getting here.
Oh, by the way, we had our doctor's appointment. The doctor said he's got the kidneys of a 19-year-old and that everything is perfect. He just needs to lose a little weight.
Yeah, I was very pleased.
I reckon.
Yeah. We got a great doctor. Man, I tell you, she's just awesome. Okay, if you go over to Apple Music, this is Last Prayer. That's the name. That's what the song thing looks like. Dakota Green, Last Prayer.
I think Amber's already.
Yeah, and if you can go listen to it, do it. It is awesome. I just really, really am proud of him. And he's going to have a lot more music out. It'll be country, but hopefully in another month or two.
Just pray for him. The people that he's working with is
slow motion. All righty. Well, y'all have a great night. We really appreciate y'all. We hope to see you next time. Good night.
Good night.